We work so you can play.
Hey Mini Wargamers, Paul here, talking about Skaven from the Island of Blood set. I'm going to walk you through how I painted up these guys. Tried to paint them up as fast as I could, get them to a nice high tabletop level, and let's try to explain what I did. So I started out with a light brown spray paint, kind of like a Khemri brown as a base coat. I use Krylon, it's called Boot Brown, it's just a light brown spray paint. Started everything out, and then the idea there was to go up a little bit for some of the brighter colors and go down a bit for the darker ones. So for the basic clan rats, you got your ones with hand weapons and shields and the spears and shields. So I started out with the light brown spray. I took some Calthan brown and went over the furry parts because they're going to end up being darker, staying away from their face and their hands and the part that will be more fleshy. So I painted up all those brown bits for the hair. Next up, I gave everything a quick Griffin Sepia wash. So what that did was the dark parts made them even darker and gave the light parts just a little bit of a variation. For the light parts, I used the Rosy Flesh Reaper Triad. So I just again hit the areas with the rosy flesh and rosy highlights, and what that was just a bit of a warmer flesh tone. I didn't bother touching the hairy parts. I figured the Calthan brown and the wash, they did enough of that for me. The metal parts, what I did was rather than doing bolt gun and then 2 washes, I just did a gray and washed it after that. Again, metallic, you're only going to end up seeing the edges that are metallic, so I didn't want to get too much metallic paint all over the guys, and it takes a long time, I find, to paint. So I used the dark gray foundation for the base coat there, gave it a black wash. While I was doing that, I also did I touch that? Maybe it was I think it was Devlin Mud, and then I used that to get in some of the other cracks as well. Once that was dry, I went over the clothing on these guys was either going to be red or an off-white. For the off-white, I used Deneb Stone, and I gave it a Devlin Mud wash, and then just highlighted again with Deneb Stone, just the edges. For the red, I used, just as a base coat, I used the Reaper Red ink. It's quite a thick ink, a lot thicker than the GW inks, and just a single coat of that was a very similar color to maybe Scab Red, but it went on a lot faster just because it was a bit waterier and flows into all the cracks. For the red, all I did to highlight that was GW Blood Red, and for the characters I went a little bit further and did some Blaze Orange, but the clan rats I didn't really bother doing anything beyond that. Then I also, for the metal parts, I took the Reaper Rust Brown and stippled that all over it, and then did a quick dry brush of Chainmail GW. While I did that, or after I did that, one of the final things was just adding some details. So I used the Deneb Stone to touch up their eyes and their teeth and their nails. Their eyes, I went back and did a bit of yellow on them. And for the bases, it was just the GW sand texture, painted Scorched Brown, dry brush with Bestial Brown, and some Static Grass just to add some variation in there. Next up, I did the Rat Ogres. So again, very similar concept, except I spent a bit more time in them because obviously they're a bit more focal points in the army. I used some pieces from the GW basing kit because they have nice big bases, and did the flesh the same way. The hair on these guys, I used the Dark Flesh Reaper Triad, so it's more like a chocolatey brown kind of hair on them, and shaded it with Devlin Mud. Skin, again, did the Rosy Flesh, Rosy Highlight. For the stitching, I added some, what did I use? I used the Reaper Clear Red, watered that down and just did a little bit of a glaze on there, just to make it look kind of red and infected. All of the metal on them, I actually did kind of the long way, so it was bolt gun metal with a shade of Devlin Mud, then Badab Black, chainmail on the edges, some Reaper Rust Brown, and then some Mithril Silver just on the super edge highlights where it would be freshly scratched. For them I also did, there's also some Warpstone bits on them, and for that I started off with a Gnarlock Green, did a Scorpion Green highlight just to get the nice bright green, and then did a Thraka Green wash and went over the Scorpion Green again just to get the edge highlights and make it look a little bit like it's glowing. For the characters, same idea as the Rat Ogres, just spent a bit more time. So I spent a bit more time highlighting the red, made sure that they're nice and deep, and a little bit more highlight by using Blaze Orange on that. For the silver bits, or the metal parts on them, I also added some bronze coloring in there, so that was a base of tin bits, followed by Devlin Mud, and then highlighted with Shining Gold, and then painted in some of the areas with a mixture of Hawk Turquoise and Dark Angel's Green to give it kind of a tarnished look. Warpstone, same idea, Scorpion Green and Thraka Green do all the work there. And the smoke on the top sensor of the main character, that's just fading from the Scorpion Green into a medium gray and then a white sort of color at the top. Nothing too spectacular in terms of technique, but it just comes together nicely. I followed the GW color schemes pretty closely and tried to paint these guys up pretty fast, but trying to look for contrast between the fleshy bits on the skin, using the warm rosy flesh, and the rusty browns, and the red and the green, the red in the cloaks and the green in the Warpstone, just kind of make the whole thing pop a bit more on the tabletop, and using the green static grass to again contrast the red. Anyways, I think that covers the Skaven. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, and good luck painting.